nuclear material from dismantled warheads is used to light the homes of former enemies, swords are turned into plowshares. It shows what's possible and gives us hope that the vision of the four Cold Warriors is achievable.
When we wrote the first article, I thought it would be a statement that might attract the attention and occasional op-ed piece receives, but it generated an extraordinary amount of correspondence, many offers of participation by people that one would take very seriously.
The initial Wall Street Journal article created a wave of positive responses from around the globe and a growing political momentum for change. The British government has specifically embraced the initiative and has said it will be a disarmament laboratory to help lead a worldwide effort.
I expect that many, perhaps all of you here today, read an article which appeared in the Wall Street Journal at the start of this year. The writers would be as familiar to an audience in this country as they are respected across the globe. George Shultz, William Perry, Henry Kissinger, Sam Nunn. The article made the case for, and I quote, a bold initiative consistent with America's moral heritage. That initiative was to reignite the vision of a world free of nuclear weapons and to redouble effort on the practical measures towards it. The need for such vision and action is all too apparent.
A chain reaction of articles and opinion pieces by other senior statesmen from around the world and across party lines has turned the call of the American Four into a global dialogue. The Indian government has reaffirmed its commitment to a world without nuclear weapons. Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd and former Japanese Prime Minister Yasuo Fukuda announced the creation of an international commission on nuclear nonproliferation and disarmament. Over 2/3 of living former U.S. Secretaries of State, Secretaries of Defense, and National Security Advisors have endorsed the initiative. Former President Gorbachev continues to work toward the goal of eliminating nuclear weapons.
The danger is that there are still too many nuclear weapons, and we need to start getting rid of those weapons. Secondly, the longer we have nuclear weapons, and not just the existence of nuclear weapons that exist today, but possibly nuclear weapons in the hands of other countries, new nuclear powers, the more dangerous the situation is going to be. It's like that famous rifle on the wall, which will one day fire.
U.S. leaders like Governor Schwarzenegger have also begun to speak out.
Everyone knows that I grew up in Austria. As a boy, the Red Army loomed over us from its bases in Central Europe. Now, even as a child, we all knew about the threat of nuclear weapons and the nuclear war. We knew the blinding power of its flash, and we knew the shape of its cloud. Over the years, the intense, glaring threat of nuclear war faded. All of a sudden, we didn't think about this anymore as the major threat or the major concern that people have and had always for so many years during the Cold War. But the reality of it is today, the nuclear threat has returned with vengeance. The vengeance of a terrorist. See, there's a whole new world now since 9/11. The Soviets had nuclear weapons and did not use them. And today, let's be honest, is there any doubt where the terrorists would use them?
Every U.S. president since President Johnson has pledged to work toward the elimination of nuclear weapons as dictated by the Non-Proliferation Treaty. And as recently as last May, all of the declared nuclear weapon states reaffirmed their, quote, unequivocal undertaking, unquote, toward that end. Great nations keep their word. And I, for one, will continue to push the U.S. and the other nuclear weapon states to fulfill their pledge.
President Obama has endorsed that goal as a fundamental tenet of his international policy.
The existence of thousands of nuclear weapons is the most dangerous legacy of the Cold War. Today, the Cold War has disappeared, but thousands of those weapons have not. In a strange turn of history, the threat of global nuclear war has gone down, but the risk of a nuclear attack has gone up. The technology to build a bomb has spread. Terrorists are determined to buy, build, or steal one. One nuclear weapon exploded in one city, be it New York or Moscow, Islamabad or Mumbai, Tokyo or Tel Aviv, Paris or Prague, could kill hundreds of thousands of people. And no matter where it happens, there is no end to what the consequences might be. So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Now, we harbor no illusions about the difficulty of bringing about a world without nuclear weapons. We know there are plenty of cynics and that there will be setbacks to prove their point. But there will also be days like today that push us forward, days that tell a different story. It is the story of a world that understands that no difference or division is worth destroying all that we have built and all that we love. It is a recognition that can bring people of different nationalities and ethnicities and ideologies together. In my own country, it has brought Democrats and Republican leaders together. Leaders like George Shultz, Bill Perry, Henry Kissinger, and Sam Nunn, who are with us here today.
Senator McCain voiced his commitment to nuclear disarmament both in his 2008 presidential campaign and again on the floor of the United States Senate.
We should stop and think for a moment, not only the perils of a world awash with nuclear weapons, but also of the more hopeful alternative, a world in which there are far fewer such weapons than there are today, and in which proliferation, instability, and nuclear terrorism are far less likely. A quarter of a century ago, Ronald Reagan declared, "Our dream is to see the day when nuclear weapons will be banished from the face of the earth." That is my dream too.
Meeting in London, President Obama and Russian President Medvedev released a statement saying, "We committed our two countries to achieving a nuclear weapons-free world."
I believe that we are in a race between cooperation and catastrophe in terms of making sure we do not have catastrophic nuclear terrorism.
And all of the good things I can imagine for the future, for my children, for my grandchildren, depend on preventing the catastrophes that could result from a nuclear bomb going off in one of our cities. That could dramatically change our life in ways we cannot imagine and curtail the dreams of all of the other things we want to happen.
More states are acquiring nuclear weapons or developing the technology to build them. And as we have seen, a terrorist organization would need no more than one or two of those weapons or the material to make them to throw our planet into chaos. The danger is very, very real. We are at a nuclear tipping point, and the actions being taken are not adequate to the threat.
We cannot uninvent nuclear weapons. We cannot repeal E equals MC squared.
The way I view it is that if you view the goal of getting to zero as the top of the mountain in terms of nuclear weapons, then we can't even see the top of the mountain today. We're heading down, we're not heading up. It's going to take a long time to see the top of the mountain, but I think we have an obligation to our children and to our grandchildren to build paths up the mountain, to get other people to go up the mountain with us, because this cannot be unilateral.
We don't quite know what the mountaintop will look like.